Hello students, as of now we have discussed the various part of congestive heart failure. In that we have covered definition of congestive heart failure. After that we have covered goals of the treatment of congestive heart failure. We have discussed in detail the compensatory mechanism and we have discussed the subsequences of cardiac congestive heart failure. After that, based on the strength and response of the body, that we know that CHF is divided into two parts: acute congestive heart failure, and acute congestive heart failure is further divided into two parts: acute compensated heart failure and acute decompensated heart failure. In the second part of CHF, we have discussed that acute compensated heart failure doesn't require any kind of medication, and inside this body itself have ability to regulate and overcome the symptoms of CHF. In the acute decompensated heart failure, we require sudden medical intervention. In that we have discussed and we were targeting treating for increasing the cardiac output and decreasing the congestive symptom, and the drug which we were using at that time widely inotropic agents like Digitalis and the drugs for decreasing the congestive symptoms of category that we were using like diuretics. In today's lecture, we will be talking about the chronic heart failure, as we have discussed in last time acute heart failure. So first it should be clear that what is the difference between the acute heart failure and chronic heart failure. Actually, the acute heart failure is a sudden occurrence of symptoms and it requires the medical intervention immediately. In the same way, the chronic case of the same CHF occurs gradually over time. First there will be acute heart failure, and it can be chances that gradually after few days or after many days the acute heart failure converted into chronic heart failure. In the same way as acute heart failure divided into acute compensated and acute decompensated, chronic heart failure is also divided into chronic compensated heart failure and chronic decompensated heart failure. In case of chronic compensated heart failure, the symptoms will be stable. सिम्टम बहुत ज़्यादा अनस्टेबल नहीं होंगे, बार बार चेंजेस नहीं होंगे. मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस सिम्टम विल बी स्टेबल, एंड द मेजर प्रॉब्लम लाइक फ्लूइड रिटेंशन and pulmonary edema, it will not be occur in case of chronic compensated heart failure. It means what are the condition? Symptom will be stable and fluid retention and pulmonary edema will not be there. While in case when we talk about chronic decompensated heart failure, here all the symptom will be unstable and condition will be very worse. So in the treatment we practically considered chronic heart failure condition, not we will be specific to the compensatory or decompensatory. We will treat the chronic heart failure condition. So through the representation of pathogenesis, I will discuss the how does the body regulate itself and how in the long term body can itself create a problem. So as we know, in the CHF there will be As we have already discussed, in the CHF there will be decreased cardiac output. Why the decreased cardiac output? Because decrease in contractility of the left ventricle. So here starting from decrease in contractility, which will results in the body itself try to compensate from decreased contractibility. It means body somehow tries itself to increase the contractility of the heart rate so that decreased cardiac output become increased. Automatically this is a natural phenomena in the body that once the contractility of the heart will decrease, there will be stimulation of the central nervous system, and that will accelerate the sympathetic nervous system, sympathetic outflow, or we can say sympathetic activity. From the sympathetic activity, we all know the hormones, or we can say the neurotransmitters involves adrenaline and noradrenaline. As soon as the sympathetic activity or outflow become enhanced due to central nervous system stimulation, this increased sympathetic activity, as we know, either stimulate beta 1 receptor or stimulate alpha receptors. From the beta stimulation of beta 1 receptor, there will be maintenance of cardiac output that were earlier decreased due to decreased contractility. अब सिंपैथेटिक एक्टिविटी नेचर ने एनहांस किया, बॉडी इटसेल्फ ये कर ली, कंपनसेटरी मैकेनिज्म. फिर से रिकैप कर लेते हैं. कॉन्ट्रैक्टिलिटी आपकी अगर वेंट्रिकल की रिड्यूस हुई तो इट मींस उसका इजेक्शन रिड्यूस हुआ. इजेक्शन रिड्यूस हुआ तो कार्डियक आउटपुट रिड्यूस हुआ. कार्डियक आउटपुट रिड्यूस हुआ तो सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम ने सेंस किया थ्रू द बैरो रिसेप्टर. वंस द सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टम सेंस्ड दैट the cardiac output has been less, now there will be automatically outflow of the sympathetic nervous system will be enhanced, and this enhanced sympathetic outflow perform their action through their specific receptor. Now here the concern of the receptor is beta 1 and alpha 1 basically. Through the beta 1, as we know, the beta 1 is directly present on the cardiac muscle, and everywhere it is well decorated in the everywhere in the heart, so that once the beta 1 is stimulated, there will be the maintenance of cardiac output, because this will increase the heart rate, and heart rate increase the increased heart rate maintain the decreased cardiac output. कार्डियक आउटपुट नेचुरली इसका बैलेंस्ड हो गया. अब बात करते हैं साइड बाय साइड पैरेलली दिस सिंपैथेटिक एक्टिविटी आल्सो वर्क्स ओवर थ्रू अल्फा 1 रिसेप्टर, एंड दीज अल्फा 1 रिसेप्टर बिकॉज दे आर प्रेजेंट इन द पेरीफेरी, सो वंस दे आर स्टिमुलेटेड थ्रू अल्फा 1 थ्रू द वेन्स. वंस वेन्स आर stimulated means venoconstriction. When artery system or arterioles or arterial system are stimulated, arterioconstriction. As we have discussed in the previous videos about the concept of preload and afterload, so here I am not going into the detail of this much. So here only, as of now, stimulation of alpha 1 results in venoconstriction as well as arterioconstriction. As we have a crystal clear concept, venoconstriction results in increased in preload, and arterial constriction result in increase in afterload. These two conditions are actually somehow are benefit for the cardiac as well as they are not benefit for the cardiac myocardial activity or myocardial efficiency, because this will increase the work of myocardium as well. For a long term, if these pathogenesis carried for a long time and the increased efficiency of the myocardium progressively day by day remains constant for high, it means हार्ट विल रिटेन इन द लाइक इन अ स्ट्रेस सिचुएशन. हार्ट उसको क्या कर रहा है, बैलेंस करने के लिए इसको बॉडी नेचुरली ये पाथवे को स्टिमुलेट कर रही है इटसेल्फ कंपनसेट करने के लिए. लेकिन कंपनसेटरी मैकेनिज्म जब लंबे समय तक चलने लगेगी तो हार्ट उसमें क्या करेगा, उसमें स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस होंगे और वो स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस हार्ट के लिए बहुत मायने तक बेनिफिट नहीं होंगे. उससे क्या होगा, हार्ट की सेल्स में डिस्ट्रक्शन या रीमॉडलिंग जैसी चीजें भी होंगी. तो ये सर्टेन फॉर शॉर्ट टाइम ये तो बेनिफिट होगी, लॉन्ग टर्म में बेनिफिट नहीं होंगे बाय इंक्रीजिंग द प्रीलोड एंड आफ्टरलोड. नाउ in the pathogenesis, once the beta 1 stimulated, this stimulate juxtaglomerular cell of the kidney and this result in the release of renin. Renin converts angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1 and angiotensin 1 converted into angiotensin 2 with the help of angiotensin converting enzyme. And from the angiotensin second, once it's bind to the angiotensin 1 receptor, there will be release of, there will be the pharmacological effect of vasoconstriction. Angiotensin second binds to angiotensin 1 receptor and this will leads to the vasoconstriction, as vasoconstriction here responsible for increasing the preload and vasoconstriction also here responsible for preload and afterload as well. Because these are not specifically binds to the veins only, they are also binds to the artery system, arteriolar system. So result in increase in PL and AL, preload and afterload. Same way it means heavily, इस मीन हैवी तरीके से प्रीलोड और आफ्टरलोड इंक्रीज होगा. पैरेलल ये मैकेनिज्म चल रही है. अब हम बात कर लेते हैं एंजियोटेंसिन 1 रिसेप्टर आल्सो रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर इंक्रीजिंग द लेवल ऑफ एल्डोस्टेरोन इन द ब्लड एंड वंस द एल्डोस्टेरोन इज अ वेरी पोटेंट मॉलिक्यूल फॉर द वैसोकॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन. सो वैसोकॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन का रिजल्ट हम ये देख रहे हैं. अगेन फिर से वैसोकॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन, प्रीलोड, आफ्टरलोड. और एक मेन चीज होती है जो एल्डोस्टेरोन की वजह से होती है बॉडी में, साल्ट एंड वाटर रिटेंशन. साल्ट एंड वाटर रिटेंशन की वजह से क्या होगा, कॉन्जेशन की प्रॉब्लम होगी और कॉन्जेशन बढ़ता चला जाएगा. तो ये एक्टिविटी हो तो रही थी उसको मेंटेन करने के लिए नेचुरली, लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म पे जब ये चीजें रिलेट करके एक साथ होती रही लंबे टाइम पे तो आपको कई सारी प्रॉब्लम्स भी आने लगेंगी. एल्डोस्टेरोन कई बार रिमॉडलिंग के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल होता है कार्डियक सेल्स में, और रिमॉडलिंग इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस रिजल्ट्स इन द डेथ ऑफ दैट individual. So now as we are discussing the various drug used in chronic heart failure, so now I hope कि आप सबको क्लियर होगा कि इससे आप देख सकते हो लाइक कि if we use here, I will use the red marker, if we use here alpha blockers, suppose we are using here alpha blockers will inhibit these receptor. If these receptor will be inhibited, vasoconstriction will not be occur, arterioconstriction will not be occur, preload will not be increase, afterload will not be increase. Once the preload not increase means it will decrease, or you can say it will maintain, it will minimize. So the load on the heart become also less. Efficiency of the heart myocardium will become high. So by using alpha 1 blocker that we use in chronic heart failure. Second, that we can see stimulating of beta 1 receptor maintaining cardiac output. So in a long term, if we want to decrease the heart rate for increasing the efficiency of the heart, so here we can use beta 1 blocker. In the same way, like because these receptors are further responsible for increasing preload, afterload, here aldosterone, increasing salt and water retention and remodeling and everything. So here we can use a drug that is angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. These drugs are actually inhibit these enzymes so that there will not be the conversion of AT1 to AT2, and this process will not be occur. Salt and water retention will not be occur, preload and afterload will not be occur, and remodeling will not be occur, and that all the mechanism will leads to the increase the efficiency of the heart. In this step we can block so that we can induce the beneficial effect to the heart myocardium, and there are some drug angiotensin receptor blockers that we use to block this step. These drugs are actually responsible for blocking the binding of AT2 to AT1 receptor. Further these process will not be occur, and this is beneficial for the heart myocardium. One drug like spironolactone that we use to inhibit this aldosterone. Spironolactone is a aldosterone antagonist. Once the aldosterone will not be formed, potent vasoconstriction effect will not be occur, preload and afterload will not be raised, salt and water retention will not be there, congestion symptom will be minimized, and remodeling also not be occur. That is the main problem of death. So spironolactone is a drug of choice in chronic heart failure that is actually in most of the cases responsible for decrease in the mortality as well. Now, so if anyone asks what were the target of treating chronic heart failure, the main target is to decrease the heart rate. From here we can say, because we used beta 1 blockers to decrease the heart rate, and in most of the cases to decrease the preload and afterload by using inhibitors. And one concept that I would like to give you, that I hope कि आपको clear होगा. Now we will talk about a separate small concept in heart failure that I previously missed, so I thought कि मैं आज आप लोगों को बता दूं. कॉन्सेप्ट बहुत छोटा सा कॉन्सेप्ट है लेकिन यूजफुल है. लाइक दिस इज आवर हार्ट, and this heart has 4 chamber. This heart has 4 chamber. Four chambers are like left atrium, left ventricle, right ventricle and right atrium. Here I would like to highlight the point that the aorta which is coming from here, usually we show in a diagram that aorta from this side, but for your better understanding I am representing here. This is aorta, and this aorta will go in a direction and there will be all organs. There will be all organs, means arterial system and venous system, and from these organs these again get back to this part, direction of the flow of blood, left ventricle to this, I told this circuit in introduction to hemodynamics, and from here there will be a pipe like structure, that is this, and this goes to lungs, and from the lungs it will get back to left atrium. This is what point I would like to highlight here. Let's suppose there is a two condition. In one condition there might be there is a problem in right side, right ventricle heart, right ventricle, and or it can be problem of left ventricle. We will consider two cases in a separate booth. First we will consider if the problem is in right ventricle. If the problem is in right ventricle, then there will be improper contraction. Improper contraction means this chamber will not contract properly. If this chamber will not contract properly, it means the blood from this chamber will not go to this side properly. If these chambers will not contract properly, again I am repeating, the chamber is not contracting properly, blood will not move to this direction in a pulmonary artery. This is pulmonary artery in a good way, so that gradually there will be storage of blood here, and as soon as the time passes, this stored blood push in a backward direction, and once these blood pushed in a backward direction or exert a force in this direction, this force come in this way, and in this way from the force is coming back, and once it reaches to whole venous system and arterial system, means organ, there will be problem of whole body edema. There will be problem of whole body edema. So if the problem is in right ventricle, the problem is whole body edema. Now we will take the left ventricle. If the problem is in left ventricle, this ventricle will not contract properly, means the aorta, which is through the aorta, this blood will shift, but due to improper contraction, blood will not be shift here. Blood will not come in direction properly, so the blood will accumulate here. If the blood will be accumulated, this will exert the backward force. Once this exert a backward force, means there will be force will come into the left atrium, and in a backward direction this will be affected. This will. What is this? This is pulmonary part of the heart. So we concluded, if the problem is if the failure of the heart chamber is right ventricle, then there will be the problem of whole body edema. You can easily check out if the person is having whole body edema, then there must be problem in right ventricle. If there is a problem in left ventricle, then no doubt there will be problem in pulmonary. There will be problem of pulmonary edema. So this is all about congestive heart failure. We have covered all the entire topic in 3 parts of the videos. I hope once you will watch all the videos, you will have the better concept of congestive heart failure. Thank you.